Okay, let's just get straight into this. This is April O'Neil as the Bride of Frankenstein Ultimate Action Figure by Neca. Now, I was really excited for the first three figures, and I think they did a really great job on those. But this was the one I was very apprehensive about because they decided to go with the likeness of Judith Hoag from the movie. And the rest of the kind of figures didn't kind of fit in with that aesthetic. They weren't based on the movies, at least not what I could see. They were their own individual sculpts and stuff. And it would have been nice to see them carry it on into April O'Neil. But considering she's here now, let's just take a complete look at exactly what she's like and make up our own minds once she's out of the box. But taking a quick look at the box, we can see it's got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cross Universal Monsters logo. Really nice artwork of the figure here, and I quite like that. That's quite nice. The artwork is really good, and it kind of works for this figure itself. And we've also got some really nice quirky text there. Turn it around to the side, again the text, the photo, lots of logos. And then on the back, pause if you want and have a look at all these little bits of blurb. But you can see the face sculpt. It's not warming to me as much as something like that is. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit apprehensive already, especially with the hair color and stuff. And then on the side we can see they have fulfilled all the images on the side of this box now, which means they're going to need to make new packaging in the future, especially for Splinter and Donatello. But it was clever of them to put her slap bang in the middle of the turtles, simply because if you got all four turtles first, you may just stop there and not collect the rest of the line. So putting her in between Michelangelo and Donatello means you're more likely to pick her up. Very smart, Neca. And then on the front here you can see it's actually Velcro and it has a window. And we can pull this open, and on the inside we've got a photo which I'm not super impressed by. I don't know, she looks very, very thick in the body and very small in the head, which I don't know, the proportions didn't really work for me in the promo photos. She's got the really nice staff there, and she's in sort of like a design like with the lab and stuff. It'd be really nice if they did like an accessory set with like a lab table and, you know, little vials and stuff. That would be really cool. And then on this side you can see you've got the window and you've got the picture of the figure there with all her accessories. And that's about it. Okay, let's pop this open and have a look at exactly what she's like out of the box. Now, while I'm popping this open, I can understand exactly why they used Judith Hoag for the likeness. She has a really good relationship with Randy and Neca as a whole. I think she was pivotal in getting her April O'Neil figure greenlit and stuff like that. And she's been super nice to the fans, so in no way is this any sort of dig on Judith herself, but it could be a bit of a dig on the design ethos that Neca went with for this figure. Okay, so here she is straight out of the box, and you can see I had a bit of a problem getting her to stand simply because the feet just aren't that great, and this skirt can restrict the thighs a little bit, squeezing it in. But getting her to stand up, I've just about managed to do it, and this is her straight out of the box. And I have to say, I really, really like the design ethics of this. This is really, really nice design work. They've got some really great sort of details in it. It's a little bit less detailed than I would like for, say, a lot of these figures, because I remember Leo and Raph were both absolutely stunning. And I mean details up the wazoo on the shells, on the sides, just like little dials and stuff. Very, very, very interesting. But obviously maybe they couldn't go as hardcore with her as maybe they would with the turtles. But either way, you can see that they really didn't want to mess with Judith Hoag's face too much, because all they've done is just get the original sculpt from the April O'Neil set, and I think they've changed their hair and then just painted it blue. And that's probably the best we were going to expect. But the shame is that there is a little bit of a red accent in the hair, but not, for me, enough just to keep her into the sort of April O'Neil design, which is fine, I guess, but it does make me feel like I'm watching Judith Hoag doing cosplay rather than, you know, her fitting in exactly right with the Ninja Turtles set. But as it is, let's have a look at the accessories. And the first one is this big staff that she carries, and this is super nice. You can see it's got like that sort of RKO radio 1930s vibe to it. It's got all these little dials and nodes and buttons and wires, and it looks very sort of like Frankenstein's lab as you come down into like the, I don't know what you call those things, but you know, scientific words. And then you've got sort of bandages around here, and it comes down into sort of like a design of wood just in the bottom here. And I really, really like this. It's really nicely painted silver, and it looks like it's got some paint chipping here where some of it's broken off to make it look a bit aged. Yeah, I like that. And then she's got a few rat friends. This is the first one. This guy's got an eye on the side of him, which is really creepy. I really like the paintwork in that. It's so cool. We've even painted the feet in there. He's got little rat teeth. And then coming, we can see we've got a rat with an ear on its back, which is again a nice nod to sort of like weird sciencey things that happen in, you know, real life. It's got big bright red eyes and again the teeth and whatnot and little pink feet. Yeah, that's a very nice accessory. And she also comes with a sight, and this is where the sort of movie nods come in. And you can see she's carrying this Raphael sight, very much like she did at the start of the Ninja Turtle movie. So it's a nice nod, but again, it just shows that they're thinking about the Ninja Turtles movie. And I don't think the other Ninja Turtles kind of fit in with the movie that well. So yeah, it's a nice nod for this sort of figure. And then we've got this spider, and this guy's cool and creepy, and I don't like spiders, I hate them. But yeah, I'll make an exception this time for this little guy to be in my room. And she also comes with this handbag, and you can see it's got a really nice sort of big bolted lock on there. It's got bones sticking out of the bag like she's carrying spare parts, and it's all stitched together like it's like a big horrible Frankenstein's mess of a purse. Very, very nicely painted and weathered. And then she's got this really dirty chain that hangs off of it, and that can hang around her body like this. Voila, be careful, you don't want that chain scratching her too much. But again, look, now that I've put her back down, she's a little bit tighter to stand as she falls. And the way they combated that with the original was they gave you a little plastic stand so that you could peg it into a foot to make her stand a little bit better. They did no such thing with this one, which is a shame, because seeing as they knew that she would have problems standing, you think they would have actually gone ahead and given you one of those little stands just for her this time. And she also comes with an extra head sculpt, and this one I'm definitely not as much of a fan of. She just looks like she's smiling for the camera. It just makes me think Judith Hogan cosplay. It doesn't make me think of Bride of Frankenstein at all. It's just too clean, and when do you know Bride of Frankenstein to be smiling around the place, you know, she's like la la la. And then they could have given her a little bit more of a red accent in here, because when you're at a distance you can barely see the redness in the hair. It's mostly brown. But again, the stripes in the hair are really nice. Very cool earrings hanging off like lightning bolts, very clever. Nice design ethos. But again, the smiling sculpt, they could have gone with more of a snarling, growling sort of rah kind of thing, but they didn't. And then she's got two gripping hands with bandages on, and these are to swap out from the expressive hand she's got on now, and these are to hold things in her hand. Mostly she can have like a grip of the chain on her handbag, or she can hold the staff here. Coming in, we can see again the face sculpt. This is the better one, simply because she's not, you know, smiling away. But again, I think they could have done a bit of a better job with something a bit more expressive. Maybe even giving her a little scar on the face to make her look a little bit more Frankenstein-y. Because as we come down into the neck, you can see they ramp up the design details by giving her bolts and scars. And you can see one side of this sort of medallion is plugged into her neck. The other part goes around and is plugged into her spine, which is some sort of weird, cool little design I quite like. And then coming down, we can see all the bandages in the chest area. This coat is made of rubber, nicely weathered down the bottoms here and very dry brushed. It looks really cool. And then coming around the back, you can see they've put little spiders in there and stuff to try and give it a bit more detail. But again, considering what sort of designs we've got with the shells of the turtles, they could have gone a bit more all out here, you know, giving her a few more scars, maybe a few more stitch marks, maybe even a few more design features somewhere along the way, even dials and nodes. And then coming down, you can see she's got a sculpted waistcoat. And I think this sort of jacket really thickens her out. But if you were actually to take this off, it would slim her down a little bit more, and that might look quite cool. And then coming down, you see they've even dry brushed the skirt. This corset is really tight, and it's got loads of little patches in it. It looks like this bit's a different piece of fabric that's been stitched into it. And then we've got the legs, and we've got more bandages and scars and whatnot, and the knees are pretty ugly, if I'm being honest. They've gone with double bends, maybe to try and give her a bit more expression and stance, which is fine as long as it works. But I don't like those peg holes a little bit. It's very unattractive looking on the figure. And then coming down into the sandals, we can see they've actually done some paint work here, and then they've painted the toenails, which is actually a really nice touch. And then they've also painted the soles of the feet and sculpted them. Articulation wise, she can look up really high, she can down a little bit, she can tilt quite far, she can do a full T pose. The arms can do 90 degrees, which is a bit of a shame, but again, she's supposed to be a little bit stiff. Then coming down, there's not much bend or flex in the torso. These rubber sort of suits get in the way. There is a reasonable amount of waist swivel. There is thigh bits here, but once you pull them out, the skirt brings them back in a little bit. There is thigh swivel. There is a double bend in the knees, which get the legs up really, really far. And then the ankles are on a forward and back joint, but can also ankle pivot quite a lot. And the arms can swivel left and right quite a bit as well. Overall, articulation wise, quite nice. Again, this kind of fits in with what we've been seeing with the turtles. There isn't a lot of torso articulation, but everything else has kind of got a reasonable amount of articulation if you really wanted to. So she's looking like, yeah, which is pretty cool. But again, there's quite a lot of flex in the legs, meaning that they can shrink all of a sudden. And once you've even put her in a stance, they could start getting pushed in or start getting flexible again, and then she can fall over. Ta-da! Okay, so posing her around a little bit, we can get her into some expressive poses, but we're going to need to be careful. Maybe get some sort of foot stand for her, so she doesn't fall over so easily. Yet again. Okay, so overall, what do I think? Well, I would have much preferred if they'd gone with a new design for a head rather than the Judith Hoag head sculpt that they've used before. The thighs are very thick, the body is quite thick, and that head just looks a little bit too small for the rest of the proportions of the body. But other than that, I have to say that design-wise, she fits in perfectly with the Neca Ninja Turtle Monsters range so far. The designs on the body are really good. I really like the bandages. I really like the fact that they've painted the toenails. I really like this accessory with the RKO radio staff thing that they've got going on. It's very, very nice. But overall, I have to say, if you were going to give one of these figures a swerve, so far, she's in the lead for the most forgettable out of them. Now, we don't know what Donnie's going to look like so far, but if he's anything like the first three Turtles, we're in for a treat. And that's all I could say is like the Ninja Turtles so far have been great. But this one, if you really must complete the line, absolutely. She's not a terrible figure at all. She has some standing problems, but that can be fixed with like a foot peg stand, something like that. And overall, there's some nice designs to catch your eye. But definitely, if you were going to give one of these figures a swerve, so far, she's the one that you could miss out on and not feel too bad, which is an absolute shame because I was really looking forward to collecting the whole line and I thought they were all going to be bangers. But so far, this one is just reasonably okay and will fit in with the line just about. But honestly, I just feel like the head sculpt is kind of ruining it for me, which is a shame. You might not. Let me know in the comments. Are you picking this one up? And if so, do you actually like it? Do you think it's like, who loves this figure? Because I do think there are some real big fans of Judith out there and they're going to absolutely love this figure. But for me, it doesn't really do anything for me. And if it wasn't for the fact that it was part of the Neca Monsters line, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. But that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you do me a favour now. If you can get out of my cave, I'm going to have to try and find some sort of foot stand for her. And I think I've got some Neca stands floating around somewhere because she is absolutely going to need one. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.